Alright, so I played a game recently called Paradise Killer. Well, I enjoyed it. Quite a bit, in fact. Mystery was good, not the kind I saw through instantly. Although it didn't take too long. There was a lot of weirdness, let's go with that. But through it all, there was also logic. And throughout the game, there was a killer soundtrack. It's a bit expensive though, so I'd recommend getting the game on a sale. What is it about? Boy, where do I even start? The gods have descended upon the planet and plunged the world into a millennial war. But one day... Yeah, the backstory is long and you don't really need to know. But just as what these immortals are creating paradise islands and keep failing, due to demons or someone ruining something or whatever else. The current one is 24th and the 25th is already prepared for everyone, but just as people were ready to go, a horrible murder occurred, wiping out the entire syndicate council. This is a story about solving it. What did I like? First and foremost, the strongest part, the soundtrack. It is just so damn good. I think if the game was silent or the music was worse, I wouldn't enjoy the game anywhere near as much. But at some point I realized that I just enjoyed exploring the islands, while some great song plays. At which point I didn't really care about the investigation much, and just walked around, bobbing my head to the beat. It also helped that there are a lot of collectibles. Nearly all of them are relevant, but food baths and drinks actually change something, unlocking double jump and such, or a new hacking scheme tile set option. Let's go with option. The drinks unlock a new hacking option. And that's actually another thing I enjoyed. Wandering around the place was genuinely fun, and I especially liked trying to find all the weird places I could access. The ones which don't look accessible at all. Since there is no fall damage, as the prologue makes abundantly clear, there isn't much punishment for exploration, although getting out of some places can be a pain, and at one point I got completely stuck in the sewers behind the fence, forcing me to restart. But that was only once. Other than that, I liked unraveling the whole thing, slowly trying to piece it all together. The biggest problem was, honestly, understand what the hell is even going on. What is possible in this world and what isn't. The names are bizarre, the world is strange, and it's confusing as to what exactly is plausible. Immortality, for example, doesn't mean that people can die, or what they're even that tough. Well, again, no fall damage. The murder itself was done with a blade, not special in any way or enchanted somehow, just cut and that's it. Possession is also confusing, in that it seems to have certain rules, yet nobody seems to be sure what they are. Same with seals and really most things. It's almost like operating on hearsay from people who think they are too smart to explain anything, which makes for a much harder mystery and honestly makes it a bit more compelling. But it's not as if it was that difficult. The game is really playing itself. Player just has to walk around, click on everything with every character and repeat until something disappears in the notes. And the trial is the same way. No complicated way to present the audience, no real choices, just point at a suspect and click through everything. Now, if that sounds negative, I'd say that objectively it is negative. However, the problem was that I was afraid to mess up. Even after uncovering everything, I was afraid I made a mistake. So much so that I checked the walkthrough, and there were some choices. Many people have skeletons in the closet, but there is only one truth, and the game makes it extremely easy to follow it, which I appreciate, even if I recognize that it removes mistakes and might make the game less enjoyable for some. Also, a player is able to present someone else as a suspect. There's enough evidence to convict people who essentially are innocent, or at least in this particular case. But there's enough circumstantial evidence to label them guilty. This is unique and has an effect on the results. Someone always needs to take the fall, and it's up to a player to present someone in such a light. I can't really think of a game which offers something like this. Although currently I didn't explore all the options, so I don't know, maybe it's not really a choice. What did I dislike? Well, for one, UI. It's very clearly for consoles, and I started with a mouse, but quickly went for a gamepad. Really early movement in 3 dimensions with it. Boy, was it a long time since I played in first person with a gamepad. Oof, I might have been a teen back then. So with a keyboard and mouse, dialogue randomly works through clicking sometimes, and sometimes it needs keyboard buttons. Same with cancel or going back. I think sometimes right click worked, but it always asked to press Q, which isn't intuitive in the slightest. It's playable, but boy do I hate it when there's zero effort in making the experience smooth with mouse and keyboard on a bloody PC. The map was also confusing. The dead zone is fairly big on the map and it's actually fairly small. It's also looking like a big desert. Instead, it's basically a building. And half of my game was spent trying to figure out how to get in, always getting distracted by something on the way, because I couldn't even figure out which direction is north or south. There's also a lot of water on the map, which could have just been more of an island. Really, the map just sucks. After finishing the game, I'm still not sure which quick travel points go to which places, or how to get to certain characters. I just clicked the vague area and went from there, despite having closer quick travel points. I'd say that what makes a great compelling mystery is leaving breadcrumbs early. Little hints here and there. And the problem is that Paradise Killer seems to reveal everything in a bit of an unbalanced way. Close to the end, there's a big cutscene after discovering a new area, and there wasn't really much hinting toward what is revealed in said cutscene. Maybe I missed something, maybe I got confused by other evidence, but the gist is that it almost feels like it got tackled on at the end completely out of nowhere. There seemed to be a bit too much attention spent on repeating the same facts from different sources, like alibis and motives and such. Many people can present the same exact data, but this big reveal, I didn't really have anything to lead to it. So instead of trying to shape the story into a better flowing narrative, it just kinda suddenly dumps everything all at once at the end. It's not that big a deal, I still enjoyed the story, the game, the mystery, but, well, it's obviously a flaw. There's also some spoiler stuff which doesn't sit right with me, but I don't really consider it a flaw, more of, I don't know if this is the right way to go about things. It concerns the trial and the suspects that can be pointed out. Also, I'd say that at the end is depressing. It honestly made me wonder whenever any of that was worth it. Sure, I wanted to know the mystery, I needed to know everything, but wouldn't it have been better if the Paradise Killer wasn't found out? If the obvious suspect was the culprit at the end? If everything the player did only made it worse? Pretty sure this gets hinted upon during the bloodbar sequences and some dialogue, especially with Shinji. I just didn't expect it to resonate as strongly with me, and I'm sitting here wondering about that. Makes me wonder how often detectives or maybe even lawyers and prosecutors go through something like that. Wondering if the man they arrested or let go free is actually a person who should not be there. In the end, life is a series of choices. Some are right, some are wrong, but most of them are somewhere in between. In the end, a naked blue demon pees everywhere anyway.